Hello, membership. We're back again. This is the Local 440 Education Committee doing podcasts again. I'm Chad Millspaul.
I'm Brian Hedger.
And we are going to discuss about union meetings this round on podcast. And we have our vice president here today who is very well versed in conducting union meetings and what they're about and the importance of what they are. So that's one of the reasons why we want to have him on, because he would like to basically have some more explanation to the membership why it's important for you to come to membership meetings, what the union meetings are for, and why you should be down here. I mean, we're all union members, and you know, per our Constitution, that's one of the things that we should be doing, right?
Yeah, it states right in there in the Constitution for the UAW is that you should be, to be a proper union member, is to go to all union meetings. So that is that's the direction that the Constitution feels that our union membership should do.
Right. And that to me kind of promotes solidarity. Okay?
That's correct.
So when you have a lot of people at union meetings, you know, I'm sure that, you know, they're talking about what's going on the floor. They're asking those questions to the elected officials, and they're also probably, you know, it's kind of like when we were on strike. Okay. When we went out on strike, I seen more people talking back and forth because they were all down at the hall, right?
That's correct.
And to me, that really promoted solidarity, and I think that's what the Constitution is trying to spell out is hey, we need to have people at all the union meetings, you know, and we realize that people can't be at every one, but we do think that people should come to them because they're very important, and that's the reason why we're having a Constitution, but it also promote solidarity, which I think that we lack a lot in. I don't know how you see it, but I kind of see that we lack solidarity. I mean, we really do, and that's something that we need to get better on, right?
I think that we run into a big issue of generation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, generational, you see people get together, and then you see people sharing information years back.
Right.
I mean, you go to McDonald's in the morning, who do you see sitting at a table, sitting around talking? Older gentlemen.
Retired folks.
Right. That's how they share information. That was the generation they grew up in.
Right.
Now we have a younger generation and a lot of people that are adapting to the cell phone and information right now, quickly. And I think we run into some issues with that, because for you to get information from this union and you know, solidarity, you have to come to the union meeting. That's time. That's a lot of dedication versus popping your phone open and going to Wish TV and looking at the news that day. Instant.
Right.
So I think that's a lot of, that's why I'm grateful for this, because I think this will help. Because this is instant in a way.
Correct.
And bringing people together the best way we know how to advance with the time.
Right.
But our ultimate goal is to get people to the union meeting.
Sure.
So they can get that necessary, detailed information.
And plus, it's more accurate. You know, the instant thing that you're talking about off the internet. I mean, I've seen it time and time again, but there's always been a lot of misinformation out there that people
I agree.
They grab a hold of and they run with it. Well, they think it's so correct, you know, and they're being very loud and vocal about it to everybody, and then come find out it's completely wrong.
That's correct.
You know, so that's another problem that we have and an issue. So how do we? I guess what do we do to change that? You know, what's an avenue that we can do to maybe get people to come down here?
I think a big avenue, and to which I've talked to Derek, and you said I was well versed in union meetings. I think Derek would be the right person. Unfortunately, he's not here to where we could utilize him because he's out on business. But this would be a good avenue for him to come and cover in a future video. But I personally think to get people to come down here to an actual union meeting is, one, discussing topics.
Right.
You know, not sharing the details of the topics, but sharing the topics that could be covered at a said union meeting.
Right.
That would spark interest, because if we talk about, you know, for instance, the Union Hall building, that might be something of interest to certain people that really have a huge interest in that and who want to ask questions about that. If it's something else regarding Scott talking about safety and safety issues, that could be an interest to them.
Right.
So I've noticed that a lot of information doesn't get to the membership in ways of the topics.
Okay.
Another avenue I would like to see is actually personally inviting people to the union meeting.
Ah, that's a new way.
So
Yeah.
I only say this because when I ran for office, I physically went around to talking to people.
All right.
And who asked questions that could have been answered in other avenues, but maybe they didn't see it.
Okay.
But me coming to them and saying, hey, I'm Brian Hedger.
Right.
Or, hey, I'm Chad Millspaw. We'd like to invite you to the meeting tonight, at 12 o'clock or 11:30, whatever, whatever time it may be for whatever particular shift. And then that might put the bug in people's ear to be like, oh, okay,
Right.
I have time and I would like to go.
Right.
And they could also verbally tell them maybe the topics.
So maybe we need to do more like a promotion during the week of the union meeting.
Call it a campaign.
There you go. That way, maybe it's going to spark more interest. Plus, it's going to be in the back of people's minds that, hey, I got a union meeting on Wednesday or Thursday. I can make time.
Yeah.
But it's not like we see the posting up and I walk by and I kind of glance at it. Yeah, I got a union meeting. But what's the date? I forget.
Correct.
And that's maybe that's what we need to do is go out and say, hey, don't forget we got a union meeting this week. This is some of the topics that may get brought up. There may be some people that's never been to a union meeting.
That's correct. And actually, if you've never been to a union meeting, what's the thing that you must do?
Oh, you're talking about getting swore in and all that?
Swore
Yeah.
in, whatever you call it.
But I think it's, and I keep referring back to this, but when we were on strike, I think folks that when they were all down, they got to see exactly how their union worked for them. So you've seen the community service, what they did. We had the food bank and all this, we realized how long we were going to be on strike? No. But we went ahead and got all these things ready for our membership just in case some folks needed those items,
Correct.
And then we were down there also leaning on each other, it's just like people bringing firewood, there were people out there cutting firewood, bringing it over here, and we were stacking it. But it was everybody working together.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
that's promoting that solidarity that I think that we desperately, that we need at this plant.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that idea, to get out, promote it, and
Well, I think when you actually go out and promote it and you talk to people, it's not, hey, I seen a paper, I'm going, there's a union meeting tonight. It's Chad Millspaw personally invited me to the meeting. Brian Hedger personally invited a meeting.
Right.
Now it's more in my mind or a personal invite to actually be
Right.
there, and it's more personal.
right.
So I think that, simply asking and putting yourself out there and doing something like that, I think you get more of a response.
Right.
And then, you talk about habits, you get into a habit eventually, then you got,
Right. Right.
then you're coming.
Right. I know one thing that when I come to a union meeting, what I'm used to hearing some of the things, So we go over the minutes from the last meeting, things like that. Now I have noticed that we've tried to speed the meetings up a little bit because I know some people think that I don't, but what people need to realize is you don't have to be there the whole time, okay? But it's always good to stay as long as you can, but. There's also times that we realize that hey, I got a dentist appointment or I got to go pick up my kids or something like that. But I was able to come to the meeting. I attended it. Hey, I seen what was going on. But hey, 30 minutes into it, I have to leave. And I think that the leadership has tried to speed the meetings up as much as possible. But it's also at the same time they want to get all the information out that they can, every month. And it is very important that. Folks do go to it at least to, hey, find out what's going on. Because the whole thing, it's the same thing. Well, how do you know? You've never been. Let's make it better. Let's make it better. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make things better for this membership. And, you know, it's like this hall, you know, when we had folks down here volunteering, coming down here and work, that was awesome. I mean, it really was. It was awesome to see this membership coming together, you know, hey, we're all working together for a common goal, you know, and, you know, union meetings is another way that we can do things, working together to make things better, because regardless of whether we like it or not, it's us against them. You know, it is us against them. And you need to know where you're at.
Yeah.
You know?
If you don't have all the information, all the tools, then what are we doing?
Right.
So I actually like what you said, because when we did the tear down here and all the construction and what we did here at the building, I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people said nobody's going to help.
Right.
Nobody comes.
Right.
And my answer was, let's try.
Right.
And guess what? I went, not just me, with the help of many other people, pushing information, putting out flyers. And you were here that morning.
Right. Right.
There's people I've never seen in a union meeting.
Right. And they showed up for that.
Yeah, and they were here.
Right.
And they were moving.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually had somebody say to me, I guess you were right. And I'm going to tell you why. That made me feel really good. But it's the fact of, if it doesn't work, try something else.
Exactly.
If that doesn't work, try something else.
Right.
We need to get out of the idea of that nothing, you know, will change, or that's the way it is, or and I don't want to get set in our ways.
Right.
Because we have to adapt and change to move along with everything else.
Exactly.
And so that's what I think, that this podcast is really important. And also, eventually down the road, I would like to see us do a podcast on a proper union meeting.
Oh.
What the membership can do.
That would be interesting.
How do you adapt to changing of motions and voting and all those things?
Right.
I think that's really important, because
Point of order. Point of order.
Yeah, there's so much
Right.
that can really go on that you really have control of, because we need to remember the membership is the union,
Right.
and we have the power.
Absolutely.
So it's just, if you don't have all those tools and the knowledge of said power, then you're lacking.
Yes.
So, and I've learned a lot. I'm still learning. So
It's never ending.
No.
You know, and it's, you know, what I think people need to realize is this, you know, all your elected officials are people from the floor, okay? They're people that you know, okay? And I guess where I struggle is this, because when we talk about coming to union meetings and things like, well, I don't want to go down there, you know, blah, blah, blah's in, you know, they'll ramble on. But how I kind of look at this is why don't we give those elected officials the respect, you know? And what I mean by that is, you know, give them an opportunity to, you know, explain what's going on, you know, to hear it from their mouth. You know, they're elected, okay? The peers elected them to be the leaders, okay? And this is what they're trying to get done. We should be there to support them, you know? And being at a union meeting, to me, is part of that support. You're supporting them because they're bringing information to you, which is, hey, this is what's been going on. This is why, you know, hey, management's up by the clock out line looking, you know, to write people up. You know, they're giving you information up there, kind of heads up, so that you're not going to get in trouble. Or that, you know, hey, this is why this is going on. You know, they're going to get on this kick for a while, and then they'll get off of it. But those are things that get brought up at union meetings. You know,
absolutely.
So it's information that's useful.
Yeah,
it's very useful. And then, you know, something else that, you know, people may not realize, that, you know, our money. We talk about spending money. We send people to sub councils, or we send them to cap council or financial. You know, there's all sorts of different things, and you know, we send members to those because it's important. Or, you know, hey, we're doing a thing for a softball team, a member softball team. You know, but it has to do with your money. Your dues money is part of this. So,
absolutely. I love talking about money, and I like keeping an eye on it.
Right. So I mean, everyone needs to realize that, you know, hey, the financial report comes out at every union meeting. If you got a question about it, you can bring that up. And you know, there's a whole range of topics that go on at every single union meeting, and that's why it's important to come to them.
Yeah,
you know?
I completely agree. And just to touch on what you said is it's not only important to support our elected officials, but it's also important to balance our elected officials.
Correct.
Question our elected officials.
Right, and there's nothing wrong
And
with
that's
that.
where the union meeting really comes in handy, is when it comes to a discussion of said vote or topic, this is the moment.
Right.
This is where you ask where, why, how much, who. I mean, all those variables to make a informed decision
Right.
and vote.
Correct. Maybe something else that we can do is like open up comments, and maybe get some feedback from the membership on, you know, what they would like to see, maybe to change things to make it better, or what's working, and to continue to do it, you know. But we got to do something different for sure, because you know, I've been to union meetings. You've been to union meetings. You've seen where there are, and I know that they tried to change the second shift meeting to try to accommodate people, and it didn't really work out that well.
That's correct.
And you know, but you're trying to do different things to make it better. Okay, and I guess the way I look at it, as long as you're trying to continue to improve things, eventually something's going to work to make it better. You know,
Correct.
And this avenue of doing podcast on it, I think is a great avenue. And you know, but we got to get interaction from people.
Absolutely, and like you said with the comments, I think it's really important that we'll monitor social media within this educational committee, and we'll pay attention to what people are saying, what they want to see, and what would bring people to the union meeting.
Right.
So the avenues would be the Facebook, the comments. If you're not on Facebook, there's comments within the YouTube video at the bottom.
I mean, we have a disco ball.
We do have a disco ball.
I mean, what other union hall has a disco ball?
I may not want to know, but we got one.
But yeah, I mean, I
I did hear some other ones, and I did see ones with a beer tap.
Oh yeah. There's a few.
Where's
of them.
ours? Is it by that popcorn machine? No, I didn't think so. Maybe I should not be talking about that.
That might be a bylaws thing. That might be a bylaws thing, but
Yeah.
no. But yeah, you know, getting more people involved. That's what bottom line. What we're trying to do: get more people involved, get feedback from people. You know, and I love the idea of going out and like kind of campaigning and promoting the meeting. I think that'll help. And hopefully it sparks more people's interest, and maybe people watch this and maybe put some comments in or some questions. Another avenue that we can go through and make it better for folks. But that's what the whole idea of this podcast that we're doing is we're going to cover a whole variety of different ideas, and try to educate people and just try to make things better for the entire membership.
And I do want to give credit to Chad. This was Chad's idea. So
I did bring this up a while ago, and then you really got on and you loved it and started running with it, and you know was like, hey, let's just do it. And I'm glad that we started it, and we're getting better at it.
it'll just take time.
Right.
But our views are up. So if you like, make sure you subscribe, because if you subscribe to the YouTube thing, when we post a video and it goes public, it will it'll alert you.
Right.
And actually, I think there's an alert button. I don't know. I'm learning too. But subscribe at the least, and then I think there's like a little bell or something like that. You can get alerts as soon as we post one. But someone actually brought up the union meeting that to make sure we go through the text system. And share the link, and so that's another avenue. Kind of what you guys did last time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Ours was a little more plain Jane, but it still served the purpose.
Yeah.
And now we've stepped it up a notch. So I love it because I mean we didn't have this. I mean the thing's beautiful.
I know.
I mean that's awesome. Our member did this. Well, Brian, I appreciate you being on here, and I appreciate the topic. I think it's a very important topic, and I'm glad that we went over it, and hopefully this will pan out some good results and get more people involved, and maybe we find out more about what we need to do. So a lot of education going on here.
Man, I'm learning a lot.
All right, Brian. Well, I think we're gonna sign off. So 4:40. Stay classy.
See you at the union meeting.